There's still some details I need to know.
Like what? Her phone number?
What if I told you some of the weirdest, wildest cartoons ever made came from the 70s? Today we're digging up the forgotten cartoons from the 70s that only true retro fans remember. And trust me, some of them are so weird you'll think we made them up. One was even banned in some countries. First on our list, one that had a ghost sidekick who rhymed his way through mysteries. The Funky Phantom is one of those 70s cartoons that's so strange, it's kind of amazing people don't talk about it more. It came from Hanna-Barbera, the same company behind Scooby-Doo, the Jetsons and the Flintstones. But this one had a weird twist. Instead of a talking dog, the mystery-solving crew had a full-on ghost from the Revolutionary War helping them out. The setup is wild. 3 teens, Skip, April and Oggy, are looking for shelter during a storm and end up hiding inside an old grandfather clock. That's when they accidentally release the ghost of Jonathan Mudsey Muddlemore and his ghost cat, Boo. Mudsey is friendly, helpful and always speaks in rhymes, which gets old fast. But hey, it was the 70s.
That's where you come in.
Oh no, that's where I go out. Call me when it's all over.
From there, it's your usual formula. The teens and Mudsey drive around, get caught in spooky situations, and solve mysteries with the help of ghost powers and cartoon logic. Mudsey would float through walls, appear out of nowhere, and crack jokes that were meant to be clever but mostly made you go, "What did he just say?" The show only ran for 17 episodes, but it left a mark. That ghost rhymed his way through mysteries, but what if your ride could actually talk back? Speed Buggy is another forgotten gem from the 70s, and yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. Imagine Scooby-Doo, but instead of a scaredy dog, you've got an orange talking June buggy with a wild personality.
Oh? Which one?
His name? Speedy. He stutters when he talks, gets nervous under pressure, and somehow ends up saving the day almost every time. The show followed the usual Hanna-Barbera mystery formula. Weird crimes, unmasking bad guys, and dramatic chases. But this time, instead of running on foot or in a van, the crew was tearing through sand dunes, jungles, and even racetracks in a buggy that could basically do anything. Speedy had gadgets, turbo boost power, and sometimes he even helped solve the case by crashing into the villain's hideout or zooming away from danger. Like a lot of 70s cartoons, it didn't last long, only 16 episodes, but it still made quite an impact. Okay, so talking cars are cool, but what if your best friend was a giant purple gorilla? The Great Grape Ape Show was one of the most bizarre cartoons from the 70s, and that's saying something. The main character was a massive purple gorilla named Grape Ape. He was literally 40 feet tall, super chill, and rode around on top of a tiny yellow van like it was no big deal. His sidekick was a small dog named Beagle Beagle, who basically acted like his manager, best friend, and babysitter all at once. The show followed these two as they traveled from town to town, trying to fit in, but obviously failing, because it's hard to stay low-key when you're a giant purple gorilla. Grape Ape didn't talk much. In fact, the only thing he really said was Grape Ape, in a super deep voice over and over again. Sounds weird, but it somehow worked.
Oh, my purple pal?
Grape Ape.
Well,
Even though it was clearly made for kids, the show had this strange charm. Grape Ape was clumsy but kind. He'd cause chaos without meaning to, like crushing buildings just by sitting down. But he always had a good heart and tried to help people. Think of him as King Kong, if King Kong was just trying to make friends and chill. But how about a girl band accidentally launched into deep space? So this one's wild. Josie and the Pussycats was already a fun cartoon about an all-girl rock band solving mysteries and going on adventures. But in the 70s, someone at Hanna-Barbera must have thought, you know what this band needs? Space travel. Boom. Josie and the Pussycats in outer space was born. In this version, Josie and her gang somehow end up on a spaceship and get lost in deep space. Each episode, they land on some weird alien planet and run into all kinds of strange stuff. Evil robots, weird alien rulers, space monsters, even planets made of crystals or food. It was random, chaotic, and super 70s in the best way.
Did you hear that? We're surrounded. Do you know what that means?
Even though the storyline was kinda silly, the characters stayed the same. Josie, Melody, and Valerie still wore their classic cat ear costumes and played music whenever they could. But now, instead of just dealing with villains or local mysteries, they were trying to survive galaxy-level drama. It only ran for one season, but it stuck with a lot of fans because of how different it was from other cartoons at the time. But what happens when classic monsters start rocking out? Groovy Ghoulies was a weird but fun cartoon from the 70s that mixed classic monster vibes with music and comedy. It featured Dracula, a werewolf named Wolfie, and a Frankenstein-type guy named Frankie. They all lived in a spooky mansion called Horrible Hall, along with a bunch of other monster characters. But instead of being scary, these guys were just goofy. They told silly jokes, played pranks on each other, and acted like total clowns. Every episode was basically a mix of quick comedy sketches and a musical performance at the end. And the songs? Super catchy and very 70s. Think disco and bubblegum pop with monster lyrics.
On a cold and windy evening, someone left it at our door.
The show had serious Saturday morning energy. It felt like Halloween meets a variety show, and the humour was simple but fun to watch. Even though it only lasted one season, it has become a cult favourite over time. Monster music was fun, but what if your favourite baby Flintstones turned into teens with drama? If you grew up watching reruns of the Flintstones, then you already know Pebbles and Bam Bam as the cute babies of the Flintstone and Rubble families. But in the 70s, Hanna-Barbera gave them their own spin-off, and they were teenagers now. Yes, the Pebbles and Bam Bam show followed the two going through all the typical high school stuff, but in the Stone Age. They dealt with crushes, annoying teachers, weird school clubs, and of course, dinosaurs just casually walking around. They even started a band with their friends, and sometimes the episodes had a full music vibe. It was pretty cool to see the next generation of Bedrock dealing with stuff that felt super relatable.
Pebbles wants to try out her new act on Bam Bam.
Well, you just missed them, but I have a few minutes, so will I do?
Even though their cars still ran on stone wheels and everything was rock-themed. The humour was a mix of cheesy teen jokes and classic Flintstone-style puns, but it worked. Now let's fast forward to the cartoon that was banned in some places. Before The Simpsons or Family Guy ever hit TV, there was Wait Till Your Father Gets Home. It aired in the early 70s, and honestly, it was way ahead of its time. The animated sitcom was all about a regular dad, Harry Boyle, trying to raise his family while dealing with some pretty serious topics, like war, protest movements, personal freedom, and even government control. It was funny, yes, but it wasn't just about silly jokes. This show actually talked about stuff that got people thinking. Some episodes were so bold that a few TV stations even refused to air them. That's how real it got. The dad was super old school, and his kids were more rebellious, so every episode was like a battle between the generations. Sound familiar? Yes, it was like a 70s version of The Simpsons, just a little more intense.
There's an awful lot of wildness going on today.
Yes, that's what we hear.
Even though it's not super well known today, people who watched it back then still talk about how gutsy it was. It didn't hold back, and that's kind of rare for cartoons from that time. But now, what if your boy band doubled as secret agents? Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids might sound like an old western, but this 1973 cartoon had nothing to do with cowboys. Instead, it followed a teen rock band that doubled as a crime-fighting squad. Their lead singer, Butch Cassidy, was basically the Justin Bieber of the cartoon world. Cool hair, charm, and always in charge. The group had a talking dog named Elvis, and even used a supercomputer, also named Elvis, to receive their missions.
Explosives? Wait a minute, that can't be right. The museum is next door to the arena.
They traveled the world in their tour bus, played concerts, and solved international crimes on the side. One minute they were jamming on stage, the next they were chasing spies and catching bad guys. Totally normal for a cartoon back then. The vibe was kind of Josie and the Pussycats, but with a bigger spy twist. The animation was very Hanna-Barbera. Bright colours, groovy outfits, and dramatic music every time they got into danger. It only lasted one season, but it's remembered by true retro fans who grew up watching it during Saturday morning cartoons. So, how many of these cartoons do you remember? Let us know in the comments.